Is Jalin Conyers a tight end worthy of note in this draft class? Let's find out. Welcome back to All Pro Football Data. My name is Jim Cobern. In today's episode, we're talking about Texas Tech tight end Jalin Conyers, his data profile. So we're going to be taking a look at all of his analytical data, from his production traits to his athleticism, age and competition, get into his first down, second down, third down conversion rates and his data in those particular areas, and his red zone production. So we're going to get into a lot of stuff in this video. So if you're new to the channel and new to the stuff that I do, please go to the link in the description. And with all of that stuff out of the way, let's check out this video. So Jalin Conyers and his production traits. He had a 62 percentile total offensive market share score, 71 in his receiving market share, and then 82 percentile in his touchdown market share. Taking a look at the All-Pro averages, Pro Bowl averages, and starter averages, he hits 2 out of 3 of the starter averages and only hits 1 in his touchdown market share. So his overall production is not elite. He is above average, but he's not exactly special across the board. And I think that's why he kind of caught a lot of people off guard in his athletic testing. Even though athleticism and production isn't the biggest correlation, you're going to have tight ends who test really well and don't produce as well, and then other ones that don't test well at all and are crazy productive. But bottom line is, production-wise, Jalin Conyers is good, but there are some things here and there that are a little hit or miss. Then when you look at his TD percentage and his yards per reception, taking a look right here, his touchdown percentage is good. It's solid. Hits the Pro Bowl average and starter average right there. But his yards per reception is below average. Some of that could be the type of offense that he played in. But this is not exactly a red flag. It's more of a yellow flag. You typically want to see tight ends that are going to be pass-catching tight ends to have better numbers here. So that's the only sort of concern with him, is that his yards per reception was a little bit low compared to other tight end prospects. Then when you look at his age and competition data, this is by far the biggest hallmark to the stuff that I do. I'm looking at the production versus their age, their level of competition, and all those other sort of factors right there. And when you look at Jalin Conyers, he does well here. He has above average MSA rating and pass rating, but his age is 49 percentile. So he's above average, but not exactly special or elite in his production for his level of competition and his age. And I think that is something that definitely is going to fall into his projection or come up at some point in the future for him, and how you project him, which we're going to get to a little bit. Then when we get to his first down, second down, and third down production, a lot of this is because he's a tight end, but his production was not the best, guys. First down situations, he was 0 percentile. His overall production. Second down situations, he was 1 percentile. And then in third down situations, he was 9 percentile. I do like his TD percentage in third down situations and second down situations. That's a pretty good number to hit, especially in third down situations. But for the most part, he is not the most productive tight end. You're looking for tight ends that transcend the tight end position. Tight ends that are essentially producing like wide receivers, and he wasn't doing that. So he's not a special tight end prospect. He has good production, solid production for a tight end, but when you look at him compared to other receivers and other situations like that, he just doesn't look as spectacular, and is probably somebody who value-wise is a little less valuable because of that fact. Now, when we get to his red zone production, based on his numbers right here, he was actually pretty decent in cumulative production. He had a 60 percentile score there. His TD percentage in the red zone was only 11 percentile, but he did have a pretty high rate of 15-plus yard plays in the red zone. So basically, per his data, and what he was able to accomplish there, that was the one area that was, a little bit off in his overall data. So that's kind of the biggest thing right there with his red zone data. Is there are a couple concerns here or there. And it just kind of goes to show that he was not the most productive tight end, even compared to tight end, from tight end standards. Then when you get to his athleticism traits, this is by far the biggest thing that a lot of people are really excited about, because Jalin Conyers tested as the most athletic tight end at the combine. Not to say that he was the most athletic tight end at the combine, because there was a lot of tight ends that did not test, which always kind of is a nitpick for me. But he did really well. He had a 93 percentile explosion score, 79 in speed, and then 95 in flexibility for his size. His speed score does not hit the All Pro or Pro Bowl averages at the position, but it does hit at least above the starter averages, and that's kind of what you need to view Jalin Conyers as, is a starting tight end. I don't believe his athleticism really makes him into a special tight end that is going to transcend everything. I mean, if it does, that's great, but it does put him in a category of players that he's more of a workman like tight end. He's more of a tight end that can be productive, get the snaps in, maybe get 40 targets a year, but nothing too spectacular in the long run, I think is the biggest thing with him. Which brings us to the metric comparison. So the best comparison for Jalin Conyers is Tyler Conklin. Based on their total market share data, when you look at the receiving market share, TD market share, etc., they're virtually almost identical in many ways. You look at their efficiency production, very similar, but Conklin actually had a better yards, or I should say receiving average compared to him. Conklin also had a better age score, a better MSA rating, a better pass score, whereas Jalin Conyers had better athleticism overall. So he had a better speed score, better flexibility for his size, but they also are very similar in having much more impressive explosiveness and flexibility versus the speed for their size. So this would be sort of the best comparison. If you're going to see, okay, what is Jalin Conyers potentially going to be at the next level? I would say it's a slightly less productive but more athletic Tyler Conklin. That would be the sort of best analytical comparison to make between the two. It doesn't mean that Conyers couldn't be better than Conklin. It doesn't mean that Conyers could even potentially be as good as Conklin, because there is a potential that he could end up just becoming sort of a journeyman tight end who doesn't really catch on anywhere. So that's the biggest thing about it. So overall, I like Jalin Conyers. I think the data does point to success at the NFL level, especially as a starter. I think there's a very high chance in his overall production data that he could become a long-term NFL starting tight end. That's where most of his averages hit anyways. But if you expect Conyers to become like an elite level tight end or to become this sort of sleeper guy, I guess you could call him a sleeper, but I think it's more likely that he just becomes sort of a long-term starter more than anything else. With all this stuff out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, my name is Jim Cobern. Check out my other work at patreon.com/jcoburn. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out tremendously when you do that. It lets me know what type of content you want. If you like the content, if you don't like the content, what direction you want the channel to go in, definitely do that. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.